So this is interesting topic that I'm actually not as down on as you might seem. I've known Chris Kohler alerted me to this. Looks like there's going to be a second video game grading service on the rise. It's called Wata Game Certification. They posted on Nintendo Age, and the people that are starting this come from Nintendo Age, some of them, but they're incorporating others. So just from the start, I can say I like this idea because they're telling you who's involved and what these people are and what their pedigree is.
Yeah, let me come out on this right off the bat and say that obviously things remain to be seen, but
Sure.
I am so excited for this because here's the thing. When you read the announcement that they make
On my favorite website, by the way. I haven't said it
yes,
in a while.
Nintendo Age, your favorite website. When you read the announcement, it's a long announcement, but it is good. At least there's a lot of info in there. When you get to the bottom, they state obviously that grading and all that is not for everyone. I'm still pretty much in the boat that I'm not really into the whole grading of games thing. But
No, absolutely
it's
not.
too late. But it's too late. Okay,
That's the thing. It's there. It's
already happened.
for a very small portion of video game collectors,
But it's there.
Yes.
And I've already stated many times I do not like VGC. It's already there. It's out. I read the announcement. I know a lot of the people who are involved with it. I've read the back of it. And this is exactly what VGC would have needed for me to even consider being okay with it. And now because I don't want people thinking that I'm flip-flopping here.
No, it's not.
What it is VGC came out and I did not agree with it, which then once that happened, we weren't going to graded games weren't going to disappear. That opened the market then for something that I did agree with in terms of grading. This is it.
The biggest issue I had, and Chris Kohler, when I had the conversation with him in our Twitter war, the great Twitter beef of 2018, going back and forth about VGC, was the transparency of VGC was non-existent.
Right.
You didn't know what their qualifications were. Mm-hmm. All you knew was they'd done it for something else. They had done it for toys, so they know how to build acrylic cases. Congratulations, cool. Doesn't mean you know how to grade a video game.
Right.
That was always the issue with me. You don't know who these people are. You don't know how they're trained. You don't know how they're tracking things. You don't know what the criteria is, and there was no pedigree for that.
Yeah.
So now we've built up at least some sort of, in the past 10 years or even less than that, there's been people that have collected and traded and sold a bunch of sealed games. There's people that would probably know more about than even the people that were grading at VGC to begin with.
Yeah.
So now you're starting to build real authorities and experts. So some of the people involved, this is what the announcement. It's a thread on Nintendo Age here. So they said, we were always collectors first. This is, let's see, Super NES man is a longtime member. Joined in 2008. That's when I joined. I'm a long time, or 2000, early 2000. I'm a long-standing member of Nintendo Age, by the way.
Okay.
I know I'm in good standing. But I'm a long-standing member. We are a company grown from this community of video game collectors. Our vision is to grow and elevate the video game hobby that we love so dearly from one based in nostalgia into the legitimized appreciation of art and history that it deserves. Through competency, consistency, and transparency, there's the word, we aim to create objective standards. There was never standards with VGC that will reinvigorate confidence in the marketplace and make the collecting experience a rewarding one. All right, obviously they're going to make money on this. It's a business.
Well, sure.
But there is a need for this.
Yes.
There absolutely is a need for a competitor and a better one.
That's what I was getting at. With the creation of VGC, with the creation of VGC, whether we like it or not, the grading market for video games sprung into existence. It wasn't going to go away. So that opened, in my mind, a need for something like this. And this is being done the way that I would want it to be done. I mean, this is what I would want to see.
The Wata family includes our 4 founders and extends to our trusted advisors who we have invited to be community advocates, each bringing their own unique and expert perspectives to help accomplish our overall vision and representing the community interests. 4 of our expert members are here on NA. Dane, salt of the earth, honest guy, is a sealed collector, and he has mentioned stuff about VGC that he dislikes, so that's the natural fit, and I would trust him.
I feel like that's probably one of the best choices you could have made.
Dane, I love Dane. Dan or Bronte, who's a big sealed time collector. At one point, he had, I think, almost the entire set sealed, or just about. I've gotten to heated back and forth with him in the past about the philosophy of collecting sealed games and my disagreement, but I would trust him since he's a guy that's been collecting forever.
Right. And that's who you want on that panel.
Jonas or Joan Bone, I've seen him around. He's a longtime member. Don't know too much specifically about him. I might have said hi to him once at a convention. And Josh Kicksmaster, who I've met at tons of these conventions. We've had issues in the past, but we're on good terms now. And I would trust him though. He's a longtime collector. I would trust him. Other advisory board members hail from comic and coin collecting markets with deep roots in certification.
See, I think that's very important too.
Paul Litch and Matt Nelson, CGC's two primary graders. So we have two coin guys. And then, or is that comic?
That's comic.
It's comic. Oh. And Jim Halperin, which is a name I've heard of before, co-founder and owner of Heritage Auctions.
Yes.
That's important. Heritage Auctions is pretty legit.
Yeah, and I mean, having the guys from CGC.
And Josh Nathanson, founder owner of Comic Link, which I've heard of as well as auction.
Having guys from CGC in there and coin, I mean, the importance of that can't be overstated, because that's where you're going to get the insight into what should be graded, what should be.
What are the standards?
What are the standards?
How do we establish a set of guidelines for our graders?
Exactly.
And communicating that to the community.
Especially because, when you're looking at a video game, there's so many more aspects if you're going to grade this. So many more angles. It's a much more three-dimensional object than a comic book, which lays flatter. You know what I'm saying? There's so much more to take into account, I would think, that establishing that set of standards is probably going to be more difficult, and all that input is going to be very useful.
So what games will they certify? Certifies any games for the following systems and links coming April 2nd. There are rare exceptions when the box for a game is too large to encapsulate in our case. They are currently grading standard size games for the following systems: NES, all states; Super Nintendo, all states; N64, complete in box and sealed. Interesting. GameCube, complete in box and sealed; Wii, complete in box and sealed; Wii U, complete in box and sealed. So when they say all states, they mean just if I give you a cartridge, you're going to grade it?
Yeah.
That could be weird. And I'll get into that later about grading. I can see a point for certifying, but now I have a fear that we're going to get into a state where you're going to go to gaming conventions and you're going to see stacks of hard-to-find NES games, or ones that are over $200 are going to be slabbed. That's a bad state of affairs if we get to there. That is bad. That I do not agree with if they go that route.
No.
I think there's still easy ways to tell a real from a fake cartridge without having to have a person certify it. Anyone with a tool bit and an eye for recognizing a real versus fake label can do that. I don't agree with that.
Certification over slabbing, though, can still be done.
But then if you certify, it has to be slabbed.
Oh, true. Yeah.
So you can't swap it out. Okay, I got a problem with that. I'm going to come on record with that. So everything else, though, is either complete in box and sealed. Okay. Sega Genesis, complete in box and sealed. No love for the Master System. Sega CD, complete box and sealed. All the rest are basically complete box and sealed. 32X, Saturn makes sense. Xbox, regular Xbox, Xbox 360, if you want to do that for some reason. PlayStation 1 long box, and PlayStation, not regular PlayStation, just PlayStation 1 long box. Interesting. And PlayStation 2. And they'll begin the grade soon. Everything else: Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Virtual Boy, loose N64 games. Game Boy Advance, DS, 3DS, Switch, Game & Watch.
Oh, that's cool.
How would you? I guess you rated how good the
Just the
cover
overall
is.
condition, and probably the LCD.
Master System, Game Gear, Dreamcast, 2600, 52, 7, all the Atari consoles besides the new VCS. Xbox One, every Sony thing coming soon, including the Vita, TurboGrafx and CD. Nokia N-Gage, if you want to do that. TigerGame.com for the 3 people who want to get those graded. CDI, 3DO. What we don't grade: video game systems, video game accessories, video game Affirma, magazines, paperwork, etc. Video game trophies and miscellanea. They don't grade for AES, CDI long box, Sega Pico. I wouldn't think about that ever. And big box PC games. Oversized games, they can't grade, are like NES Arkanoid, Carmen San Diego, Stack Up, because they don't have cases for it. They don't have the ability yet.
Right.
Super Nintendo Earthbound. So anything out of the ordinary set. So, yeah. So I do like the idea in theory. I hate the idea of grading cartridge only stuff. I cannot tell you how much that is going to bother me if that actually becomes a thing. Because what's going to happen is people think it's going to automatically raise the value for people. Where if I get a Super Mario 3, I can buy one on eBay for $15, or I can spend $80 on one, and the cost to grade it's probably going to be like, I don't know, in between that. So they're going to know there's going to be an instant profit markup on it, which is why I don't like, in theory, grading sealed games anyway, because there's this automatic assertion of value because it's graded. You know?
Yeah, but they're filling a need. I don't. You'll have to see what the market does.
I'm going to see. I don't think there's a need to grade, unless it's like a one of a kind item or two of a kind item. You want to certify an NWC cart, that's fine. You want to start doing that for like little Samsons. I think that's sort of pointless to me. You know, when there's so many of them compared to like other items. But.
Yeah, I mean, with loose ones, that's definitely a spot where I'm a little more.
But I wish them luck. At least they're going to get feedback from the community, right?
I mean, I think I'm like 80% pretty much in their court on all of this. The loose stuff, that's going to be a little
dicey. They have the examples.
You
can see a Zelda Link to the Past in a case, and it's like, all right, can I take it out at least? Water resistant, UV protected. That's like the other ones. Lock systems. They're secured with 6 locking tabs. Okay. I mean, I have no problem buying them just to have them if you can take the game out. I really don't.
Right.
Tamper evident. Oh. You can destroy the holder themselves to take them out. Oh. Okay. And they're going to be at certification debuts at C2E2. What is that? Is that an event?
Yeah.
I never heard of that. Where's that one at?
It's every year.
Chicago.
Yeah, it's Chicago.
And it's like a CES sort of thing?
It's comics and something.
Chicago Comic and Entertainment Expo. So they'll be there. April 6th to 8th, when I'll be at PAX East that weekend. Interesting. Same weekend. Not a good weekend for that.
I mean, honestly, overall, I wish them luck. I just,
sure.
I think this is a hole that needs to be filled, and I'm certainly.
And I hope it shuts up the people like that we're going out yelling about me and Ian, like, well, this is the problems we've had for like 10 years.
Oh, I'm not unreasonable. My problem with VCS, I have personally I have a weird thing with grading games. It strikes me as odd, but as I've gotten older, the grading of things in general has bothered me less, and I think
it never caught on. It's very niche.
Sure, but as I've gotten older, just in general, the grading of things in general, it bothers me less. It bothers me less with video games. And like I said, VGC wasn't ever going away, which in my mind, just look, we can argue about that all we want, but really the only solution to it was to create a better VGC, better grading, a better
service.
A better service.
With people that we actually know these people and can contact them and have standards and practices and objective qualifications for what's a 7 versus 8 versus 9 versus 10, which I always said, I don't know what a fucking 90 versus 85 versus 80 is. I don't know what that means.
We're finally going to get something like that as opposed to everything being very good 85 plus.
Best of luck.